the channel. That would mean so much to me. Angel Reese went off tonight. Oh, wow, did she? 8 points. All right, solid. 3 of 13 from the field. 2 turnovers. 0 for 2 from the three-point line. And 50% from the charity stripe. If we were just to take away those 2 3-pointers, she went pretty much 3 for 11 from within 5 feet.
Eight points on 3 of 13 shooting, 0 for 2 from 3, and somehow this performance gets celebrated on social media as Angel Reese going off. But those numbers only tell part of the story. What we're witnessing isn't just a shooting slump. It's a fundamental breakdown in offensive execution.
Off on the first one, gets fouled.
Off on the first one. Folks, I got a genuine question here. How does your body contort to this manner right here? How does your body contort to this?
Another quick look on the inside.
How does that happen? Look at her her leg is facing north and her other leg is facing south. One leg's facing east, the other leg's facing southwest. Do you have any type of body control, dude? You got any type of body control, dude?
Angel Reese off on the first one, gets fouled. Look at the relentless. Continuing that.
Watch that sequence again. Brittany Griner doesn't even leave her feet. She's standing flat-footed and still gets the block. That's not elite defense. That's poor shot selection combined with questionable body control. And this isn't an isolated incident from one bad game. Over her last 3 games heading into this matchup, Angel Reese averaged 11.7 points per game on 28% shooting from the field. 28%. To put that in perspective, the league average for post players is around 46%. She's shooting 18 percentage points below the standard for her position, but here's what makes this particularly concerning. Those aren't contested jumpers or 3-point attempts dragging down her percentage. When you isolate shots within 5 feet of the basket where post players are supposed to dominate, she's still only converting at 28% over that stretch. That means the majority of her missed shots are coming at the rim, where she has a significant size advantage over most defenders. The question isn't whether she's in a slump. The question is what fundamental issues are causing a player with her physical tools to struggle this badly in the paint.
Oh, excuse me. I'm not a Reese fan, but let's be honest here. She also had 4 blocks, 3 steals, and 15 rebounds. She just needs to stop shooting so much, especially threes. Also, her team won by 35 points. Yeah, the Connecticut Sun are fucking trash. Me and 4 people around the block can beat the Connecticut Sun. I've never seen something so sloppy and unathletic in my entire life. Damn. Angel Reese wants you to know that people watch the WNBA for her too. She's made the Atlanta Dream the 14th biggest draw in the league out of 15 teams. Wow. This is insane. You can't get this many bloopies. Shout out to the Pope. Every single game from a player they put on the national team. They put this player on the Team USA national team, folks.
Now look at the body positioning on this attempt. One leg facing north, the other facing south. As the commentator points out, this isn't just bad luck or a tough defense. This is a complete loss of body control on a routine post move. Elite post players, the ones who make national teams and all-star rosters, they maintain their center of gravity through contact. They use their core strength to stay balanced. What we're seeing here is someone who hasn't developed those foundational skills despite having every physical advantage. And the pattern continues throughout the game. Missed layups, blocked shots, turnovers and traffic. The Chicago Sky won this game by 35 points against Connecticut, which currently sits at the bottom of the league standings. In a blowout victory where the pressure is off and the defense isn't locked in, this is the offensive output we're getting. 3 of 11 from within 5 feet. That's not variance. That's not a bad shooting night. That's a player who hasn't figured out how to finish against WNBA level rim protection. The comparison to Russell Westbrook keeps coming up in the comments, but even that feels generous. Westbrook, for all his inefficiency late in his career, still averaged over 40% from the field during his worst seasons. He could still get to the rim and finish through contact at an NBA level. What we're watching here is something different. This is a player whose offensive limitations are becoming more apparent the longer she's in the league, not less.
You got Reese who goes up the first.
Headbutt, look at that.
Look. We got Reese who goes up the first time. She gets her own
headbutt.
Rebound, and then gets fouled on that backside, and it's definitely a foul right there.
Headbutt.
Clean strip of
damn, and then here's Angel Reese.
Like a hard foul. Yeah, the officials no doubt are going to take a look at this. Aaliyah Edwards is called.
She grabbed my neck. All right, you know what? Surely she grabbed your neck, right? You're an honorable person. You tell nothing but the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Rebound.
Let's see.
Gets fouled on that back.
Oh wow, man! You see her grabbing. Damn, her neck's getting grabbed.
It's definitely.
Wow, her neck's getting grabbed. Wow, her neck is getting grabbed. Wow, she's about to get choke slammed. Her neck's getting grabbed so much.
It was a clean strip, but from the backside,
what was that? A rear naked choke? Damn. Yikes.
And then there's this incident. The headbutt that initially gets called is a foul on the defender. Watch the replay. Aja Wilson goes up for the rebound, and Reese initiates contact with her head, making contact with Wilson's face. The officials review it, and somehow the foul stands against the defender. This is the kind of play that generates controversy, not because of the call itself, but because of what it represents in the larger conversation about officiating consistency and player accountability. When you're shooting 28% from the field and you're getting calls like this, it feeds into a narrative that's becoming harder to ignore. The narrative that says certain players are being protected, that their struggles are being explained away rather than addressed. And that narrative gains traction when you look at the Team USA roster announcement. Angel Reese was selected for the FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup team. Let that sink in for a moment. A player currently shooting 28% from the field over a 3-game stretch, who can't finish layups consistently, who has fundamental body control issues in the post, is representing the United States in international competition. Meanwhile, players like Kelsey Plum, who's averaging over 18 points per game on 43% shooting, or Joel Lloyd, who's been one of the most efficient scorers in the league, are left off the roster. The selection criteria for Team USA has always emphasized current performance, defensive versatility, and the ability to execute in high-pressure situations. By those standards, this selection doesn't make sense from a purely basketball perspective, which means it's making sense from some other perspective. Name recognition, social media following, marketability, the things that matter when you're trying to grow the game but shouldn't be the primary factors when you're selecting players to represent the country.
28% from the field. 20% from 3, 67% from the free throw line, 28% when you're shooting within 5 feet. That is bad news bears, folks. That's bad. Wow. Folks, you got to go out of your way to shoot 28%. I think Ben Simmons can even shoot better than this. And Ben Simmons doesn't even like shooting. Wow. 28% from the field is historically an outrageous shooting percentage. She misses and gets blocked on purpose to get rebound stats. It's unprecedented and disgusting selfish behavior. Damn, shout out to Mr. Gru. Oh, giving her the little tykes. I hear the WNBA are implementing the Reese hoop to improve the efficiency. Wow. Break out the little tykes. Break out. Damn, she's literally the Russell Westbrook of the day. That's disrespectful to Russell Westbrook. Damn. Sharing shots with one of the worst offensive players in the league. Yeah, this is bad news bears. Yo, really put shooting splits. That's wild.
Here's where the situation gets more complex. Yes, Angel Reese had 4 blocks and 3 steals in this game. Yes, she grabbed 15 rebounds. These are legitimate contributions that show up in the box score and help her team win games. The defensive activity is real. The rebounding numbers are impressive, and in a league that values versatility, there's an argument to be made that she provides things beyond scoring efficiency. But let's be precise about what those rebounding numbers actually represent. When you're shooting 3 of 13 from the field, you're creating more rebounding opportunities for yourself. Missed shots become offensive rebounds, which pad the stats but don't change the fundamental problem. You're still not putting the ball in the basket. And in international competition, against teams with disciplined defenses and size in the paint, those offensive rebounds become less available. You can't miss your way into production against Australia or China the way you can against Connecticut. The 3 steals and 4 blocks are more meaningful. They show engagement on the defensive end and the ability to disrupt opposing offenses. But here's the thing about defense at the international level. It's structured, it's team-oriented. Individual defensive plays matter less than your ability to execute a game plan, switch on screens, and communicate in real time. And when your offensive limitations are this severe, you become a liability that opposing teams can exploit. They pack the paint, they dare you to shoot, and they make everyone else on your team work harder to generate offense. This is why the Team USA selection feels like such a departure from past standards. In previous World Cup and Olympic rosters, every player had to justify their spot with elite-level performance in at least one area. Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi were there because they were the best guards in the world. Breanna Stewart and Aja Wilson earned their spots by dominating on both ends. Even role players like Stephanie Dolson or Odyssey Sims brought specific skills that translated to international play. What specific skill is Angel Reese bringing that justifies her inclusion over more efficient, more proven players?
It's preferential treatment. But folks, she's not the only one that looked absolutely abysmal last night. Brick Center gave us this awesome highlight tape. The amount of air balls in a WNBA game is insane. Now, the Fever don't usually have this many air balls, but let's take a look at this garbage that we're about to watch. Oh, man.
Diamond Miller, deep three, extension from her range, hitting 3 for 3 just a game ago against Marina, maybe about chasing that 1,000 point, building on it here as Medina Okada is in the ball game. 2 seconds left. Reese passes it, but to 15, the only player in double figures. Rhea marched them in the first place, so good job, Otto.
The airball compilation from this game tells its own story. Multiple attempts that don't even hit the rim, and these aren't half-court heaves at the buzzer. These are shots from within the offensive flow, attempts that professional basketball players are expected to convert at a reasonable rate. When you see this level of offensive struggle from a player who was the 7th overall pick in the draft, who played at one of the premier college programs in the country, who had every resource available to develop her game, you have to ask what went wrong in the development process. Because this isn't about talent. Angel Reese is clearly talented, she's athletic, she has good size for her position, and she works hard on the glass. The physical tools are there. What's missing is the skill development, the refinement of technique, the thousands of repetitions that turn physical gifts into consistent production. And that raises questions about her college coaching, her professional development staff, and her own approach to improving the weakest parts of her game.
This video had to be subscribed to the channel. That means so much to me. What a disgusting night of WNBA hoops last night. See you next time, and as always, take it easy.
So here's what this all adds up to. Angel Reese is currently in the middle of one of the worst offensive stretches we've seen from a prominent WNBA player in recent memory. 28% from the field over 3 games, 28% on shots within 5 feet. These aren't numbers that suggest a player working through a temporary slump. These are numbers that suggest fundamental problems that need to be addressed before she can contribute at an elite level. And yet, despite these struggles, despite the clear evidence that her offensive game isn't where it needs to be, she's been selected to represent the United States in international competition. That selection sends a message about what we value as a league and as a basketball community. It says that name recognition and social media presence can outweigh performance on the court. It says that we're willing to compromise competitive standards in pursuit of other goals. Now, let me be clear about something. Growing the game matters. Building star power matters. Creating personalities that casual fans can connect with, that matters too. The WNBA needs marketable players who can attract attention and bring new viewers to the sport. Angel Reese, with her college success and her social media following, fits that profile. She's recognizable, she's polarizing, she generates conversation. All of that has value in today's media landscape. But there has to be a line. There has to be a point where we say that representing your country in international competition requires more than just name recognition. It requires excellence on the court. It requires the ability to execute at the highest level against the best competition in the world. And right now, based on the evidence we're seeing game after game, Angel Reese isn't meeting that standard. The comparison that keeps coming up is to players who were left off the roster. Kelsey Plum is having an outstanding season, shooting over 40% from the field while creating offense for herself and others. Jewel Lloyd has been one of the most consistent scorers in the league for years. Erike Wnba is putting up 20+ points per game and carrying a heavy offensive load for Dallas. Any of those players would bring more offensive firepower and fewer limitations than what we're seeing from Reese right now. And the defense of her selection, the argument that she brings rebounding and defensive versatility, falls apart when you look at international basketball. The game is different at that level, the spacing is different, the physicality is different. The ability to rebound your own misses becomes less valuable when you're playing against disciplined defenses that limit second chance opportunities. What matters is efficiency, execution, and the ability to contribute without becoming a liability on offense. Think about what happens when Team USA faces a quality opponent in the World Cup. Let's say they're playing Australia, a team with size, discipline, and excellent defensive fundamentals. Australia is going to scout every player on the American roster. They're going to identify weaknesses and attack them relentlessly. When they see Angel Reese on the floor, they're going to pack the paint. They're going to dare her to shoot, and they're going to make her prove she can finish through contact. And based on what we've seen over the last month of WNBA play, that's a matchup that favors the defense. Now you've got a situation where the coaching staff has to manage her minutes carefully, where they have to scheme around her offensive limitations, where they have to make sure she's not on the floor in crucial moments when the game is on the line. That's not what you want from a national team player. You want players who make your job easier as a coach, not harder. You want players who can execute in any situation, against any opponent, without requiring special considerations or adjusted game plans. The broader issue here is about standards. What standard are we setting for player selection? What message are we sending to the players who are performing at a high level but getting passed over? If you're Kelsey Plum and you're putting up 18 points per game on good efficiency, and you're watching someone shoot 28% from the field get selected over you, what's your incentive to keep grinding? What's your incentive to keep improving when the selection criteria seem to be based on factors other than performance? This isn't about hating on Angel Reese as a person or as a player. This is about maintaining standards that mean something. This is about ensuring that when we put together a national team, we're selecting the best players based on their current ability to contribute at that level. And right now, the evidence suggests that other considerations are outweighing pure basketball merit. The WNBA is at a critical point in its development. The league is getting more attention than ever before, ratings are up, attendance is improving, sponsorship deals are being signed. This is the moment when the decisions we make about how we evaluate talent, how we build rosters, and what we prioritize will shape the league's trajectory for years to come. If we establish a precedent that marketability trumps performance, that social media following matters more than shooting percentage, we're setting ourselves up for problems down the line. Because eventually, the casual fans who are tuning in because of the personalities are going to want to see good basketball. They're going to want to see skilled players executing at a high level. They're going to want to see competitive games where the outcome is in doubt and the talent on display is worth their time. And if we've been promoting players based on factors other than their ability to play the game at an elite level, those fans are going to be disappointed. They're going to tune out, and we'll have squandered this opportunity to build something sustainable. So what's the solution? How do we balance the need for marketable stars with the imperative to maintain competitive standards? It starts with honest evaluation. It starts with acknowledging when a player is struggling and needs to improve, rather than making excuses or changing the criteria to justify their inclusion. It means having difficult conversations about performance and holding everyone to the same standard, regardless of their name recognition or social media following. For Angel Reese specifically, it means focusing on skill development. It means spending the offseason working on finishing techniques, on body control, on the fundamental mechanics that will allow her to convert the opportunities her athleticism creates. She's got the physical tools to be a productive WNBA player, but tools aren't enough. You have to develop the skills to use those tools effectively, and right now, that development hasn't happened at the level it needs to. The Team USA selection is done, she's on the roster. But moving forward, both for her career and for the league's credibility, there needs to be a higher standard. Performance has to matter, results have to matter. And when a player is shooting 28% from the field over an extended stretch, that has to be acknowledged as a problem that needs fixing, not explained away or ignored because of other considerations. What do you think? Is the Team USA selection justified based on her rebounding and defensive contributions, or should current offensive performance carry more weight? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's have an honest conversation about how we evaluate talent in this league. If you found this analysis valuable, hit that like button and subscribe for more in-depth WNBA coverage that goes beyond the highlights and examines what's really happening on the court.